guys, right here at Magnolia for No Prep Mania 6.0. This is the first race of the year here at Magnolia. Billy is not here right now because he's trying to get his truck ready and he's very busy and he's having issues with his laptop. So he's doing that. I got second pair left lane. I got the wagon that has the big, it's very loud, obnoxious. And then he got a Malibu that he ran at Pacemakers a few weekends ago. I think he's 8 pair. They did not scrape the track this time. Usually they scrape the track, and which sounds good, but it's actually gonna make the track worse. It's old rubber. I'm gonna predict that after first round it might get a little better, but after a bunch of rubber piles up, it's gonna get real greasy and mushy and yucky. So I don't think it's gonna be probably the slowest this track's ever been because they're not scraping it, or they didn't scrape it. So it's old rubber. It's the same old mags that we're used to. It's really bumpy. The left lane, I think, is going to be the better lane, just like normal. The right lane it's always been more bumpy and pretty nasty, but we'll see what happens. It's beautiful out. It's not too hot, so maybe it won't get greasy, but I don't think it's going to be as fast as it usually is. I think some people are going to struggle a little bit, so it should be interesting.
Oh my gosh. Look at those shoes.
Bro, you like my shoes?
I do.
I might as well flag with those. Flashlight. I know, right?
Exactly. He is the flashlight.
The button, and it just felt like it had a little bit of wheel speed, not an unhealthy amount, but it had a little bit. And at about 100 feet it finally grabbed, and it took off. It was making some decent power, but that left lane was real bumpy, and it was sending us all over the place. I actually had to get out a little bit early, but all in all, I think we made one of the better first round passes for not having any rubber down in front of me, and we got it done.
crossing. He's just gonna stand on the track.
So I drew the Malibu that I raced first round at Pacemakers a couple weeks back. Wasn't sure what to expect there. He had told me that he was trying some new things suspension wise and that it was basically just a test pass for him. So I was pretty confident that we were going to get it done. When I first looked at the track earlier in the day, I felt like because they didn't scrape it and it was really old rubber, I felt like first round was going to be a little sketchy, but it actually came around really good. I think the temperature outside and the track temperature and the fact that they were pouring puddles pretty close to the starting line, it made the track pretty good quickly. So it tightened up. Like I said, it didn't get gooey because the track temp was low, the weather was good, the air was really good. We got the win first round. I ended up putting a pretty stout tune-up in it. If you notice in the video for first round, the truck leaves pretty hard, and about 50 feet out it sets the nose down pretty violently, I would say. It could have been a lot smoother. The reason it set the nose down that hard is because I was opening the dump valves at half a second out because I was expecting it to start spinning after the 60-foot cone. So the dump valve set it down, kind of upset it a little bit, made it drive funny, and then it straightened back up. After about 330 feet, made a decent pass. So we got the round win first round, got that out of the way. On the second round. pretty hot tune-up in it, and it took it for the most part, except for at the finish line, it let some sparks out. And what that actually was, it was the converter bolts actually. I think one of the converter bolts loosened up. It let one of them go. It flung one up into the bell housing, lodged it in the bell housing next to the block. I'm surprised it didn't mess up the flex plate, honestly. It lost a converter bolt. It broke one of the pads on another converter bolt. It broke half of the welds on it. So we got back to the trailer. I got under it and looked it over, and I noticed that we were missing one converter bolt. Another one was halfway backed out, and another one was almost broken. So luckily Dave Gebauer with the Black Malibu had some extra bolts laying around. There were some grade 8 bolts, so the threads were pretty messed up in a couple of the holes, and especially like near the end of the holes. Luckily I was able to get them started with a little bit of pressure and turning them very easily with the wrench. We got the converter bolts started in there. I had to back them back off because they were a little longer than the ones I had before, and put washers in there. So we got them in there. We made our 3rd round call, and we went back up, and we had Jeff Thomas for 3rd round. Second round, we drew this little turbo import car. It's a buddy of ours. He made a decent lick first round, but now that the track was coming around second round, we put some power in it, tightened up the front shocks to keep it from wheeling, let go of the button, and it just shook the tire real hard. The whole car was vibrating and wheeling at the same time. I thought it was kind of spinning and wheeling, but I think it was paddling the tires real hard. But we got out to about 300 feet and it quit paddling the tires and it set the nose down, and we just drove away. Welds are broken on the tab on the top.
Hi. So the boys are pretty busy right now, which means no time to film a round recap with them. So I thought of the next best replacement.
Here I am. Okay, so round 2, when Billy made his pass, it looked awesome. And then at the far end, we see like sparks under the truck. And we're all like, Bill and I looked at each other like, he said that didn't look good. And I'm like, I know that didn't look good, but we didn't have time to deal with it because Tommy's coming up. So Tommy comes up, he makes a great pass, he wins. We get back here and Billy has it like jacked up on the trailer. And they've been under it, working on something. I'm staying out of the way. I don't ask questions, I know better. But I heard something about converter bolts. I don't know.
I think all of the converter bolts except one fell out.
How's that happen?
I'm not sure.
So is he going to be able to finish racing?
Yeah, it's fixed. I don't know what they did.
Did they borrow bolts?
I think so.
Okay. So I'm not supposed to worry, right?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. And people wonder, why does Bill kneel behind the truck and the Falcon to pray? These are the reasons why. Holy crap. All right, on to round 3.
Takes that.
It does. 4 clicks is a bunch. When you're talking about from 0, if you were at 0 and you go 4 clicks, it's going to slow the rebound down.
Well, we might as well do a recap.
Like when we were at Norwalk testing, I had 6 clicks in the rear. So we're like almost to 6. So it shouldn't fucking annihilate the tire too hard.
Your mom already did it, actually.
She did what?
The recap.
Oh.
I had her fill in.
So my last pass, it felt like it was wheeling and spinning at the same time. I think it hung the left front and it just vibrated real hard at like 1.5 seconds, and I kind of pedaled it. And I probably should have just let it drive through it because Billy had some timing coming out of it that probably would have saved it, but it shook so hard that my first instinct was to pedal and get back in it. So my converter bolts, one of them broke off and impregnated itself between the block and the bell housing. And then it broke a weld on another one of the converter pads on the converter. So it had one bent bolt, one broken bolt, and one of the pads was ripped off. And we managed to get 3 converter bolts back in it that are longer. And everything should be okay now, at least until we can tear it down and fix it right. It should be okay. So we're going into this round. I'm racing Jeff Thomas. I'll be in the right lane. Tommy's right after me, and he's racing. Who are you racing? Mike Gwynn.
Mike Gwynn.
So we got the 2 hard.
We got some hitters. We got some hitters for sure. We're gonna work for this one. And I have a little gauge by my shifter that shows me my CO2 pressure in the truck, and it was 0. So I asked Dad if he would check and see if the bottle was empty or what was going on in the back. I didn't know if it maybe got shut off. And he opened the truck bed, and sure enough, we're out of CO2, completely empty. So I knew I was going to lose that round as soon as I pulled in the burnout area. Just one of those things. I've never had that issue before where I forgot to fill a CO2 bottle for the race. We just switched this thing back over to CO2 from the onboard air because we were having pressure issues. The tank would drop too low during the run. So I didn't really know how much CO2 the truck was using. It's the first time I've put the truck on CO2 in a while, but it pretty much used a full 2.5 pound bottle in a race and a half. So it sucks. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this race this week. I was extremely busy trying to get the Nova ready. I actually wanted to race the Nova at this race, but I just simply ran out of time because of the oil pressure issues we were having and some other little things. We weren't able to get it there. So currently the car is at Box Performance. I'll put some clips in this video. They're putting a bigger oil pan on it and trying to solve some of our oil pressure issues while it's there. They're taking care of us, so hopefully they can get it figured out and we can get it racing here soon. But like I said, it was just one of those weeks where I literally didn't have time to touch this thing. I had basically put it in the shop from No Prep Kings, and I picked it up that morning when we left for this race, loaded it on the trailer, and that was it. So if I had more time, I probably would have went over things, noticed a loose converter bolt, and noticed my CO2 almost empty. But that's life, and just got a lot going on. So congrats to Jeff on his win, 3rd round. He made it all the way to the finals, and that's awesome. Jeff's a good dude. I'm happy for him. Car's flying. I think it would have been a great race, but I think I would have got him. I was out on him at 60 feet, it looked like, from my vantage, and it was only on gate until the 60-foot cone. So I think we would have won that race, but you know, it's one of those things. It's you know, we'll do it again. So congrats, Jeff. Got a fast car. Always a pleasure racing you.
Hell yeah.
Right lane, buy a car.
I fucked that Nova up. Woo! I drove that bitch. That was badass.
So 3rd round, we drew Mike Glenn from New York. He's the guy with that gray Nova. It's got the flames on it. It's always doing wheelies and shooting flames. It's a bad nitrous car. He took me out last year in the finals at this race, and he outran me pretty good. By 3rd round now, the track's pretty decent, better than we thought it was going to be. So again, we tightened up the front shocks, put a little more power in it, and made some shock adjustments to stop it from vibrating the tires so bad. Chris hits the light, and my car took off, and I drilled the light on Mike. I knew I had to. That's a nitrous car. It's going 60 foot hard. I had to get out on him. So I drilled the light, got out on him, and it was vibrating terrible. It was wheeling and shaking. It shook the car so hard that the inside of the car was falling apart on me. My sun visors were falling off. My CO2 bottle fell out of the bracket. It vibrated so hard, but Billy told me to just drive through it, so I did. So I drove through it, but it was vibrating so hard I couldn't even see the track. I was just like, it was the worst tire shake I've ever felt. But I just drove through it, I heard him kind of coming. His car's real loud. I was thinking about grabbing the scramble. I was ready in case he was going to start driving around me. I heard he had to get out of it, so I knew I was good, and we went on to the next round. Yeah, I mean, it vibrated a little bit at like 150 feet, and I drove through it.
It had some wheel speed.
It clicked high gear, and I grabbed the scramble because he started driving around me. And I mean, he just, even though I grabbed the scramble, he kept slowly put 2 cars on me.
It's that fuck you power.
I mean,
I'll let you drive my Nova sometime. You'll get to feel what it feels like.
I drove the light. I mean, I grabbed the scramble.
He left the same as you. He drove it too.
Yeah, I mean, that was just one pass where I don't think he ever even pedaled. Like, that was his best pass.
He made a good pass. He always shapes it up just in time.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Could have got a hold of him first round.
Yep.
It's too bad they didn't allow call-outs, but I know why they didn't.
So 4th round, we drew Hong and the Nova, as most of y'all know who that is. But the track was pretty fast by 4th round, about the fastest it's probably ever been. Every single round of this race, my car has vibrated the tire, shook the car almost in half. And I think we got like 16 passes on our tires, and I think they're just beat. They've had it. Billy, I think, actually took a little bit out of it throughout the whole pass to maybe save it from shaking the tire so hard and the possibility of it shaking and then spinning. So he took a little bit out of it. I had 5 on the scramble in case if I needed it. I tried to drill the light on him like I did with Mike, but he left right with me, and that's not really what I was looking for. I was looking to try and get out on him, apply pressure early. I got out him by about half a car, and then he just, at half track, he just steadily drove around me. And by the end, he got me by about 2 cars. I grabbed the scramble, it didn't even do anything. He was still driving around me. It probably hurt, it probably was making me spin worse, but I had to try something. But yeah, congrats to Hong. He got me by about 2 cars, and that big block power just got us again. So congrats to him. The Billy lost to Jeff Thomas. I lost to Hong. They go to the final. Both of their cars are running really good. You got big block nitrous on one hand and big block twin turbo on the other, and both these cars are running really fast. So we'll see what happens.
pretty good weekend. Can't complain. We were able to load the cars back up one piece. We made it to the semifinals with Tommy's car, and I think I would have been in the semifinals or finals too. But you know, things happen, mistakes happen, especially when you got so many different things going on at one time.
I was happy to get my revenge on Mike Gwynn.
Yeah, you did beat Gwen.
Because he beat me last year in the finals at that same race, so.
Yeah, that was cool. You were out on him pretty good. So that was definitely cool to see. So I think in the semifinal there, I mean, there's really nothing other than you just got outpowered on the big end. I mean,
maybe if I was on a fresh set of tires, I could have got another 10th out of, you know, because it was just shaking the tire so hard, but you don't think so?
I don't think tires would have made a difference. I mean, yeah, the tires were shaking because they had a few passes on them, but the difference was really, honestly, in the last 200 feet of the run, in my opinion. And we would have either had the 60 foot or 330 extremely hard, which I don't think was possible for the track conditions that were there, or we would have had to add about another 500 horsepower, and we just don't have it at our disposal.
Exist. No.
Yeah, so
he has it, we don't. I mean, it just comes down to that.
that's where he beats everybody, is the last 200, 300 feet. So hopefully, you know, congrats to Perry. He's got a hell of a car. He tests a lot, and he's got a handle on that thing like nobody's business. So
he's getting more and more data on it. Every
Yeah.
time he races every weekend.
every time he makes it to the finals, he gets faster and faster and faster, and he learns more. He's constantly making changes. So he's a bad dude. You know, he's the one to beat around here. So we're looking to hopefully get this Nova done soon, and we may be a little bit more competitive on some of these front side no prep surfaces. Hopefully it's done soon. Hopefully we get these issues figured out, fingers crossed, and get back to working on it and trying to make some passes with it here soon. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry we couldn't bring it home this weekend. Try again next week. See
Where
you
are we
next
racing
time.
next weekend?
I think next weekend we're going to go to Clay City. So Clay City is having a no prep race called Slugfest. It's $20,000 to win. It's Friday and Saturday. Limpy's going to be flagging it. So yeah, that's going to be a good event. I think Brian Tooley Racing is sponsoring that deal, guaranteeing the $20,000. So hopefully I'll have the Nova there, and we can put some big power in on the big end. Maybe be able to test the car this week, hopefully, if everything goes well, and we can get it ready for next weekend. If not, we're going to have to make some bar angle changes to the Falcon. I think Clay City is going to be a pretty good track. The current configuration on the Falcon, the way the bar angles are, it separates really hard, like a radial car. And sometimes when you have a set of Hoosiers that have 10-15 passes or more, when you're playing the tire really hard like we are with the Falcon, it beats the sidewalls out of them pretty quick. We need to test some changes for some of the races that we've been doing lately. Aren't anything like the street, just to be honest. And that's really what the car was built and intended for, was street and back end races. So it's going to take some changes to make it 100% efficient, to where we can put more power in early in the run without it upsetting the tire. What I mean by that is shaking the tire. We're putting too much pressure on the tire, forcing it into the ground too hard when the track doesn't really need to be forced into the ground that hard. It doesn't have any choice but to shake the tire because it's not a drag radial, and the suspension on the rear is really set up like a drag radial car. It's set up to plant really hard, and you know, that's great for bare asphalt in my opinion, but not so great when you're on a sticky front side surface. So we're going to be testing some bar angle changes on it, and we'll probably be doing that this week, getting ready for next weekend. We might try to squat the car a little bit, and might have to go test somewhere, just see if it works. but I believe there's a lot of 60 foot and a lot of 330 left on the table when we're on a good surface with that car. So changes coming soon, more work. Thank you guys for watching, appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
What's up?
What you think? Just like say some shit. Some shit.
Well, that just pulled in the driveway.
Nice car. I don't know who it is. Nice car, dude.